Hi everyone, my name is Stacy Wixall and I'm the director at Macedon Public Library, and today I'm going to show you how to make a faux stained glass sun catcher. The first thing you're going to need to know is that your pieces for the sun catcher are really most important part of your kit. And unfortunately, as I've already emailed all of you, you probably have pieces that are too small. So I'm going to show you how to cut your own pieces when the new plastic I've ordered comes in, so that they will actually fit in the frame. So what you'll do is you'll take your frame and you're going to take a piece of just typing paper, whatever you have. You're going to lay it down and grab a pencil and just trace the inside pieces so that you have a pattern for each. Now, just like in sewing, once I get all of these pieces cut out of here, I'm going to have to have some seam allowance for the actual pieces that will go inside of the frame for the stained glass sun catcher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a different color pencil, or you could use a marker, whatever you have at your house. You're going to, just like in sewing, you don't have to be too fussy about it, but you want to make sure this piece is a little bit bigger than the opening in this frame. So I'm just going to come around and make it a little bit bigger on all sides. And then when I cut these out for a pattern, I know to cut on the blue line I've made. So I'm just going to do one because I don't think you will need to see me do all of them. I'm sure you'll get the idea. But here we go. And I might not have gotten that one. Okay, so now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut on my blue line that I just made. And one good thing, there's always a silver lining. One good thing about this happening is that I was able to order plastic in a bigger variety of colors. So when you come in, you'll have a little more choice, and you'll have choice because originally you kind of got whatever was put in your kit. Now you'll get to have a little more freedom to choose what colors you actually like. So there is a silver lining in all of this. So I'm going to put this on top of my frame, and as you'll see, it's covering the space. Now I'm not going to glue a piece of paper on this, obviously, but before I use this as a template on some plastic, I have some scrap plastic here. I want to make sure that it does in fact cover the space. So I'm going to cheat a little. I'm going to line up my edges so I can only have to cut 2 sides instead of 4. I'm going to take my writing instrument of choice. I'm just going to use a pencil and simply go ahead and make a mark so I know where to cut. So I've done that, and I don't know if that shows up on your screen or not, but there's a light pencil mark. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut that. Whoops. That paper stuck to me here. So I'm going to cut my pencil mark. Do this process for each of the different pattern pieces. You'd cut out of the white paper. You'd first, before you do that, you would go around it, leaving a little like a seam allowance. And then you would cut that out. And then you would trace on your plastic, and then you get a piece like this. So just going to show you. I did try to do a recording earlier with some of the pieces I had, and I kind of got them to work, but it's really difficult to get your pieces to glue if they're on the small side. And in fact, I had to just use this scrap piece. Like this red piece was too small. I'll show you. If you don't do what I just said and you just cut the piece, like you trace this and you don't leave a seam allowance, then when you go to put your piece in, what you have is a piece that, it's probably easier if I show you on my paper here. Let me tip my camera. What you end up is this piece is just too small. I have no way, there's nothing I can glue it. I mean, I could stick it like this and glue, but then I'm gonna have all this space, and I don't know if I'm able to translate this well. So my recommendation is please don't use the pieces in your little kit. Wait till the new plastic comes. And like I say, silver lining, you'll be able to pick the colors you like. So if you were thinking you would like to put this sun catcher in a particular room, you can look at the colors that come in and maybe pick colors that will coordinate with your setting, which would be nice. So anyway, I am going to take this red one that I've just cut. Now I just cut the piece that should go up here. But just in the interest of showing you how this works, I'm going to trim this piece off a little because this piece is now too big for the spot I have open. So I'm going to trim it down just a bit. Okay, so I trimmed it down, and now I want to put it, I want this piece to go here. So you were given a little tube of glue, E6000. That's what I use to glue the plastic pieces onto the frame. And, you know, I'm jumping ahead just a little. In your kit, you have 2 frames. You want to make sure that whatever frame has kind of the most scorching on it from the laser printer, I like to make sure that piece is going to be hidden. So either hidden or put on the back side. So this one will be my back side piece, see? So eventually when I get all my colors in here, I'm gonna make a sandwich. And this will be my back. And on this one, you can see, whoops, I'm gluing my plastic to the side that has all this scorching from the laser cutter because it's actually burning through the wood. I don't find that very pretty, so I'm going to hide it. My front, however, is fairly, actually this would be the top with the holes, pretty clean. You don't have the scorching. Okay, so we have this empty spot. We have a few empty spots. As you can see, I already started this program. I've made one recording and I stopped because I realized my pieces were just too small. But I'm back and I've shown you how to cut your pattern out. Now I'm going to show you how to glue this in. Pretty easy. I like to have a toothpick, but what I have at the library, I found this skewer. And having a stick of some sort, toothpick, a stick, some sort of a little tool you can use to put your glue down is pretty helpful. Actually, I like to put it on the plastic better. I just go up to the very edge. I don't want a lot. It doesn't take like a ton of glue really to um to get this thing stuck together. So I take a little on my stick and I just put it on the edge, just nice and neatly, like a little line. And I have a paper plate here so that when I'm not holding my stick, I don't have that glue. I don't want to stick my stick to the table permanently. Okay, so now I'm gonna lay my piece down on the frame, just like that. And see, you can even see that the pieces should be just a little bit bigger than the opening you're trying to cover. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and do a few more. I am going to try to use some of these scraps that, if they're big enough, I have other scraps too. Let's see, maybe this one. See, these were just cut too small. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut a piece. I'm just gonna eyeball it. I would not recommend you eyeball it. I would recommend that you make your pattern because you'll get a much better result, but I'm just gonna eyeball it because you don't want to wait for me to have to do all that. So that turned out fairly well. I'm gonna take my glue, pick this up, put it neatly on all the edges of this little green square. I'm gonna pick up a little more glue. I didn't have quite enough. You know, if you're not opposed to having sticky fingers, you could probably even put a little on your finger and carefully put it on the edge, although I think the stick keeps it nice and neat. If you get a little glue, ball of glue, make sure you put that on your paper plate. You don't want that in your project. Okay. And okay, so I got my glue on, and now I'm just going to go ahead and glue this on. Just kind of drop it over neatly and give it a little push. And then I have two more. Let's see, what do I have? No, maybe a blue one. Okay, so I'm just gonna eyeball a piece for that space because, like I say, all my pieces are too small. I think I want a blue one here. Let's see, how does that look? A little shorter than I would have liked, but enough to glue it on. So you just need enough to be able to glue it. But once again, use your pattern. Don't do it. I do it this way because it won't be as accurate. There. Spread on your glue. I think that's probably enough for this one because I cut it a little on the short side because I didn't use a pattern. But there. And I just need one more. Let's see, a little yellow because we don't have any yellow in this one. This one. And okay, so there's my yellow one. I'm gonna, as you know, I'm gonna take my stick put my glue on there. I'm going to pick up a little more glue. You can't see it, but I have it over here. There. Okay, so that's how that looks. Now, remember, we have to make a sandwich. So for the sandwich, I'm going to take my glue. I'm going to put glue all on the wood frame. Try not to be super messy. Don't get too close to the little holes that your twine's going to be going through. Because if you get glue in your hole, then you won't be able to fit your twine through, or you'll have a challenge ahead of yourself. Now, take your make sure you have the other part of the other frame. Make sure it lines up, that you're actually putting it on right. And a real simple tip is look for the holes that your hanging twine will go through. Line up the two holes. That way you know you're getting it glued on properly. And then just push down into the glue like so. So it's kind of a funny thing to me that the pieces ended up being cut without any allowance, because this whole stained glass thing was inspired by log cabin quilt pattern. And if anybody out there doing this project knows about making quilts or doing any sewing, you got to have a little bit of a seam allowance. And I just think it's kind of humorous that the pieces that originally got cut were cut in such a way they didn't have the allowance they needed. I don't know. It's not that funny, but it's a little bit funny. Okay. So now, how do I get my string on? So as you can see, the stained glass suncatcher has a twine hanger. All it is you're going to need, and I don't have one at the library, but what's ideal, if you have a needle threader and they make them out of a very pliable wire, often people who string beads have this sort of needle threader. You would put your twine, and I've lost my little piece, you would put your twine through the eye of the needle threader, and it's going to be made out of wire, so it's pliable and it's got a really big eye. It's super easy to get through. And you just make a little tail, and you'll have it through your needle, and you'll just go right through the little hole. Now, the only thing you want to make sure, the only thing to remember is one side of your frame probably looks nicer than the other side. So you want to make sure that, like in the one I've finished, this side is my nice clean side. It doesn't have any scorching on it. But the back side, it's a little bit, it's not that bad, but it's got a little bit. So you want to make sure you leave some tails on the side that's not your preferred side. And then you just make a couple of knots in your string, and that's it. That's what holds it all together. So there you have it, a faux stained glass suncatcher. I hope that you will come in next week and pick up your plastic and put this together, and it will cheer up your home and make lots of pretty colors in whatever room that you choose to put it in. Thank you for your patience waiting for more plastic to come in. But hopefully you'll get colors that you like even better than the ones that were originally coming with it. And that's all. Have a nice weekend, everyone. Bye.